on digital radio, on the app, on your smartphone, on X, YouTube, and Facebook. The Sportscast. Basketball and more.
The Jersey Boys Sports Talk presented by The Sportscast.
The Jersey Boys Sports Talk with Victor Arocho and Byron Jones. And here's your host, Victor Arocho.
Actually, I'm not Victor. No, not here today. I'm Joey Bag of Donuts filling in for Victor. I know we're twins, but no, this is actually not Victor.
Twinsies.
We're twinsies, yeah. Why are you Mr. Charming?
Because I am.
You just naturally. You're always.
Yeah, but I'm feeling a certain kind of way today.
Okay. You should be happy. You got your quarterback. Live from Pittsburgh and Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Welcome to the Jersey Boys Sports Talk presented by the Sportscast, March 27th, 2025. If you haven't already, please subscribe in all your channels, YouTube, Twitch, X, and Apple Podcasts. You could also listen to us on your smart speaker. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, please leave us a rating and review. It'll help us out tremendously. We're also on online digital radio. Visit us on thesportscast.net. Also follow us on X at the Sportscast1 and check out our app, The Sportscast, in the iOS Apple Store. So how are things in Lancaster?
Let's see. I started, well, like I said before, I've started with the kids with the flag football. It was cold yesterday. I've never been so cold. And, I played in football, but it was just like cold yesterday. I mean, the wind was blowing. The poor little kid, they're little guys, and they're running all over the place. And then next year, as soon as we said go home, by the time you went to turn around, they was all gone. And on all different directions and left.
See, when you're playing, it's one thing. But if you're just standing there, it is really cold.
Man, it was brutal just standing there. Man, I'm old. I'm an old guy, and my ankles hurt, my hips hurt, my back is killing. Oh man, it was brutal standing out there.
Now, are you coaching or just?
No, I'm a coach. Because I coach flag football and I do tackle football. In the summer. So, this is keep busy. Might as the knowledge, keep the knowledge rolling.
It's a little too cold right now. This weekend it's supposed to get like 70, 80 degrees, something like that. But yeah, this week has been cold.
Yes, and then me running back over here, to get ready for this. It was a little cold again over there today. It was like 52 degrees or whatever.
Yeah.
But then the wind started kicking in, and I'm like, I think I'm gonna leave a little bit early today because usually, I'll run over, leave at 7 o'clock or whatever, to get back home. And I was like, I got to get out of here, man. This is too cold, man. It was.
It's tough. It's so hard when you're just sitting there or standing there and it's really cold and that's all you could think about. It's like, I'm so cold. I just want to go get back to when it's warm again.
And you got the poor parents sitting out there. They had to pull out the lawn, the lawn chairs and chairs. They're sitting there. The lady was sitting there. She had a blanket. I mean, like from head to toe, and all you could see was a little face sticking out. And
smart.
I was like, man, ain't
smart.
No way. I said, you know what? I love my kids, but you know what? You on your own. When you're done, come home and I have some hot chocolate or something.
Just drop them off, or just stay in your car and where it's heated or something like that, and just say, "Good luck, kids."
Yeah, and we do have the parents to just because we're out there 2 hours, and they just drop them off and then take off, and then they come back at 7:30 or whatever. But yeah, man, there ain't no way I would stand out there in that field like that. It's almost as bad as in the summertime when you're standing out there, it's 90, 100 degrees, and you're out there cooking. Standing like, yeah, man, I sure wish that it was a little air. It's interesting.
I don't know what's worse, too hot or too cold. I think too hot is worse because there's not much you could do. you know, too cold, you could put layers on. You could get blankets and stuff.
Well, here's a quick story. Real quick, uh, when we used to shoot on the range, when I was working law enforcement, and one of the ranges we have is on Sandy Hook, which is what we use is, I mean, right on the Atlantic Ocean. You can't get any closer.
Okay.
Our dumb behinds were out there in January. It's an outdoor range, outdoors on the ocean. The wind, it was
With the
it was
wind?
so cold. It was the wind and the waves. It was so cold when the water. I didn't believe it, but when the waves would wash up and hit the rocks, it would hit. It was freezing as soon as it hit the rocks. It was crazy, and then, we have to qualify all these people. There's a lot of people that have to go through. These guys, most of them were failing because they would come out there and it was so cold. They go pop, 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 real quick and go run back inside.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure that would affect your shooting. Yeah.
Oh, it was brutal, man. I ain't
Oh,
never been so
my.
cold. I did in the military. I ain't never been. And this is Sandy Hook, New Jersey. I've never been so cold in my life. And then I had a cold for 2 weeks after that.
I'll bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Listen.
wind. Ooh, it just penetrates you. No matter what, it just penetrates.
And the crazy thing, like where the range was, the top was open. So when the wind was coming, it was like it's come down and it's circulating there, and it was crazy.
Oh, like a little tornado.
Oh, it was bad, man. It was. We had a whole lot of people decide to give up their weapons, because of the cold that day. And we were there for 3 weeks.
I give up.
Oh,
I give up. Surrender.
Yeah, I'm done. I don't want no gun. I'm good.
Here, let's bring Alex on.
Sorry about
Alex,
that.
how you doing?
Usually I'm not tardy for things, but here I am.
Wow, I was tardy also. Where are you? Where are you coming from?
Located in the great state of Maine. It's a brisk 39 degrees tonight, and I guess we're supposed to get quite a bit of snow this weekend or something.
All right.
Did you say snow? You said
I was
snow,
gonna
right?
We're complaining about 50-degree weather, and you're dealing with 39 and snow coming. It's like, what? I'm not going to complain anymore.
I mean, look, I like to give everyone crap for like the different weather things, but at the end of the day, it's like, I mean, one day it was like in the high 50s and 60s, and now it's back into like Maine winter, even though it's now spring. That's just how it is until like mid-April.
It's crazy.
Oh, can't do it. Can't do it.
No. Spring means we're supposed to get warm weather. Snow in March. Oh, that's just wrong.
Nope.
Oh. All right, let's get to the main headline. Russell Wilson is a Giant. Byron, you sound really happy about this. What are your thoughts?
Man, well, at least we don't have just Tommy DeVito by himself now. It's going to be an interesting quarterback room with Russell Wilson, James Winston, and Tommy DeVito. We got so you really can't complain. At least you have somebody. But the only problem that I have with this is that what are they going to do in the draft? Are they going to still take another quarterback again, or what? But yeah, I think it was a good move. I don't think he really wanted to be with the Giants. I think he wanted to go back to where, Pittsburgh.
And we didn't want him.
I guess it didn't work out with Pittsburgh and everything, but at least we have a competent quarterback or close to.
So I think this is my interpretation of what happened, because the Giants are draft third, right?
Yep.
Tennessee's 1, Cleveland's 2, New York Giants is 3. Okay. Tennessee is obviously taking Cam Ward. That's the first quarterback off the board. It very much seems like the Browns are going to take Sanders, which I think is a mistake. But then again, the Browns are used to making mistakes. So there you go. The Giants need a quarterback. They're left out. There's none left unless they trade back or whatever. So now you're stuck with either Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter, which I think are very good options. Just you don't necessarily need a defensive guy. What's that?
So that's a tough dilemma to face. Either, what seems to be the top consensus player in the draft, or, I mean, I'm not necessarily big on the whole dual threat thing that Travis Hunter can do, but there's that.
The things I'm hearing about Travis Hunter is he's one of the best defensive, like, cornerback prospects ever, and one of the best wide receiver prospects ever. I'm just hearing crazy hype about him. So
I mean, he was doing 100 snaps a game in Colorado. Like, that's just insane.
I don't think he's going to do 100.
It's insane.
He ain't doing 100 snaps in the NFL. I don't think that.
Well, that's a big question. What is he going to do? Is he going to just be all defense, all wide receiver? I don't know. But
which side makes the most money?
I'm going to venture to guess wide receiver.
Wide receiver. Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. That's where you look.
Yeah, I definitely view him as he'll be classified as a wide receiver, because when eventually franchise tagging or other comes up, he wants that money. But then also in turn, he's going to do some gadget stuff on defense just for the gimmick.
Yeah.
They have to at least entertain it.
Yeah. And then I was looking at I think Cleveland might, snatch Sanders up, because they got Deshaun Watson, and you got Kenny Pickett, the New Jersey guy, with the Cleveland Browns. So that's what
he's a Jersey boy.
Yeah, that's what they have at the quarterback position. So they're probably going to be taking a quarterback or either trade back or something.
And that leaves the Giants out. Now, the Giants tried to get what's his name in the Rams? Matthew Stafford. I think they tried to get Sam Darnold. I think they tried to get Aaron Rodgers, and I think all of them turned them down. So now they have Russell Wilson, and I could tell you, with Russell Wilson with the Steelers for a while, was actually very good. He made the Steelers offense actually good for the first time in several years. That's the Steelers' problem, is their offense stinks, and he made it good. But then it just all fell apart in the final 5 games, partially because of him, but other factors too. They only had one good wide receiver, George Pickens. He got hurt. Their offensive line kind of fell apart. And the third thing is Russell Wilson tried to do too much. He tried to be the hero, and it created a whole bunch of problems, a whole bunch of turnovers and stuff. So it ended horribly, but for a while it was actually really good. So in theory, you have the potential to be really good. And hey, I really like Jameis Winston. I think he could be pretty good, and he's relatively young. Do you like them getting Winston?
He's entertaining.
Yeah, very entertaining. He's working on his life after football. So he's in New York. So yeah, he has that personality, for New York. So that should do well. But on the field, I don't know about that.
I mean, I was gonna say definitely obviously, he probably will play at some point. But is there anyone else in that locker room that really can kind of bring the energy that Jameis does? As I would say, it was kind of cringy. It can be at times, but it's entertaining. Seems like everyone who's played with Jameis has nothing terrible to say about him.
He seems like a great guy. And like you said, Byron, after football, he's going to make the most amazing either color commentator or studio analyst. That's going to be amazing. I mean, he is total entertainment. But he also throws a lot of interceptions, like a lot.
He got his eyeballs fixed. He said he had that surgery, so that should help. That's what he said. That's what he said. That he got his eyes fixed, and he's not going to throw 30 interceptions. 15 to 20 maybe, but not 30.
Now, Jameis Winston, he says entertaining things like, "Lord, please deliver me from making pick sixes," stuff like that. But Russell Wilson is also, I don't want to say entertaining, but he has his own personality, and that personality is Mr. Positivity. It's always positive. If they lose 40-0, he's still positive and stuff. And it's like, okay, it's nice to be positive, but at the same time, this act gets a little old, especially when you're losing. And it does not seem very genuine. That's the problem with Russell Wilson, and they call it toxic positivity. It just seems like, I don't know, it just seems like he comes off as fake sometimes. It's like, you know what? Sometimes things are bad.
That's like what happened at the end of his time in Seattle, and you kind of saw some of the stories that came out about how he was, where it's just like it seemed like no one talked to him. It was just sort of like you had to reach out to his assistant just to talk to him. It was weird, but
yeah.
I don't expect anything less from Mr. Unlimited.
Right. And then he goes to Denver, and he basically gets to do whatever he wants, and that was a complete disaster. Kind of like Aaron Rodgers of the Jets, almost the same exact thing. It's like you get to do whatever you want, and that didn't go well. But the thing with Pittsburgh was very interesting because the Steelers are desperate for a quarterback. They basically have nobody right now. They just signed Mason Rudolph. That's really all they have right now. But they didn't even consider bringing back Russell Wilson. And I think the reason is he really made them angry. And he made them angry because he let it leak a story that the offensive coordinator wouldn't let him do audibles, or he wouldn't let him do what he wants.
Wouldn't let Russ cook.
They did not let Russ cook. And I think that really angered the Steelers management, that they thought, well, this guy's bad mouthing us in the press. Why we don't even want you back. So, which I think is ridiculous. I think, like, okay, you have a problem with someone, just, let's talk it out or whatever. But, hey, whatever, for whatever reason, they did not even consider bringing him back, even though they have technically no quarterbacks right now. So that's what happened in Pittsburgh, but it has the potential to work in New York.
Yeah, but why? Okay, why would Russell Wilson want to come to New York knowing that Shane and Dable are basically on like a hot seat? It's hot. He comes to New York that has probably the worst, offensive line. Their offensive line is not that good. They have basically one receiver, which is Neighbors. They did resign, Slayton. They have a running back. I like Tracy, the one that they got, but he has a little fumbling issue. Are they going to correct it? And I think, he's a good choice, but why would he pick New York knowing that all this stuff, he's going in a worse situation that he was in?
I mean, do we know who else was courting him?
That's the thing. Nobody was.
Like, it was a game with Rodgers, we can kind of pretend there were maybe a handful of people in on him, but with Wilson, it seemed like there was just not much out there.
Yeah, but why did we have to take him? I'd have been happy with if they didn't just, they signed Jameis, he's the starter, go with him, draft, the quarterback, even if they have to move down, get more picks and, draft a kid from Louisville, or, the kid from Mississippi or one of them, but not at 3, lower. Yes. Get you a whole bunch of picks, because you have to build all the stuff because they're a train wreck.
It's a good contract. Now, granted, I don't know what all of his incentives are, but it's only $10.5 million guaranteed. I know it can go up to 21, but it's honest, between him and Jameis Winston, they only spent $18 million on those two guys, guaranteed, I should say. Like, they're not bad contracts.
Okay. But
it's a combination of nobody wanted to play for the Giants and nobody wanted Russell Wilson. So it was just very low supply and demand. And that was the only spot. That was the only team that wanted Russell Wilson. I didn't hear him. I mean, I heard him. He visited Cleveland or something like that, but nothing materialized there. That's why Russell Wilson chose the Giants and why the Giants chose Russell Wilson. And Jameis Winston, yeah, he might be good, but he's not a starter. He is at this point, he's just a backup. He's a good backup, but that's all he is a backup. And they paid him like a backup. They're only paying him what, $4 million. So they deserve each other, I guess.
Yeah. Well, everybody, the people I talk to up here, right now the Arch Manning sweepstakes is starting to kick in. They figure, they're going to stink this year and they'll be in play for what, the better quarterbacks that are coming out next year. So the people I'm around here, the Giant fans that I talk to around here, oh well, if we stink this year, we'll be in the running for Arch Manning. I was like, dude, you don't even know if this kid's going to come out next year. He can stay until 27 if he wanted to. Why would I leave? I'm getting $6 million a year at Texas. Why?
Exactly. This is the NIL era now. This is the era where they're making more money to stay in college than they would in the pros. Yeah, stay an extra year or two if you want.
I know it's been a minute, but has anyone actually done that yet? Like, I know Carson Beck's just kind of hanging around, but I don't think his draft stock is very high. Like, if you're a top pick, I don't see them staying around just yet. Maybe I'm wrong.
I think the top picks, like if you're like a top 5 pick or something like that, you should go up to the draft, because I'm not sure they're still making good money. Like, even though there's like a rookie cap or whatever, I think like the top picks are still making, like, I think we're talking like around 10 million a year or something like that. So yeah, it would, if it's like a top 5 pick, yeah, then definitely go up. But if you're just like later in the first round or second round or something like that, and you're making good money in college, stay in college.
Oh yeah, by all means, I would 100% agree on that. But like, I think that's the thing where like we could suggest that with Arch Manning, but I mean, I'm presuming Arch Manning is like a top draft prospect at the moment. He's not staying an extra year, as much as the money at Austin is pretty nice.
Yeah, but both his uncles stayed in college and made, well, probably some under the table money, which I don't know. But
they 100% did.
Yeah, both of them, Eli and Peyton, both stayed longer than they should have. Because I think the year that Peyton could have came out, I think the Jets were like in the mix as far. And I was like, yeah, I don't think I want to go to the Jets.
Yeah,
worked out for him.
Yeah. But that's and also the Steelers are thinking that too. It's like, oh, there's going to be all these quarterbacks available. We're assuming Arch Manning is even good. We don't know. Maybe he'll suck. Maybe he'll get hurt. Who knows? But we're assuming there's going to be all these quarterbacks that are going to be able. It's going to be. That's just an assumption. We have no idea what's actually going to happen. But yeah, the Giants are probably going to have a bad year. They're probably going to draft in the top 5 next year. And they're probably going to go for the quarterback then. So there you go. Let's wait for 2026.
Quarterback in this draft, just not obviously with the first round pick, because a lot of people want Jackson Dart. That's a name that's being floated around if he even makes it to round 2.
Jackson Dart is a perfect candidate for either mid first round, late first round, or early second round. It would be perfect if the Giants got either Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter in the first round, and then their quarterback in like at the beginning of the second round. That would be a perfect scenario for them, because then they get, in theory, their quarterback of the future, but also a really good player at 3.
And they don't have the pressure of needing to play him in week 1, or even, I hate to say, year 1, where, I mean, is Russell Wilson going to yield you 9 to 10 wins in a playoff spot? Maybe, no. But realistically, probably not.
Not with that team. And Russell Wilson he's not the Russell Wilson of his prime. I mean, the big drawback of Russell Wilson is he's just not big. He's not tall. And he could get around that with athleticism. Well, now he doesn't have as much athleticism. So it's just going to be interesting.
And he's going to need all of it with that offensive line that they're going to roll out, because allegedly they're going to try Evan Neal at guard this year, which they should have done 2 years ago, because he's been a big disappointment. Oh, my God, he's terrible.
It's weird how
I'm not even
in that draft class we got Evan Neal and Kayvon Thibodeau, and Thibodeau's been good, but also there's been kind of the underwhelming last year or so with him as well. So it's kind of like we went from, oh wow, we really hit this one out of the park, and I think it was the 2021 draft, I think, and all of a sudden now it's just like, oh, I don't know,
because his option is coming up as far as getting paid like everybody, all the other edge rushers. Thibodeau, yeah, he's coming. His 5th year is coming up soon. So maybe if Abdul Carter just happens to be sitting there to grab him, and then just the other guy, I was like, yeah, it was nice, goodbye. Yeah, we're paying this other guy $40 million a year. We're not paying.
I've heard that could happen. That if they get Carter, they could trade Thibodeau.
Because I've said this 1,000 times. Like Thibodeau, he's not explosive. Like, when you watch other edge rushers coming around, like TJ Watt, and like some of those guys, when you watch them, they look fast coming around the corner. They just have that look. And for some reason, to me, only that's my opinion, that Thibodeau doesn't fly around the corner like you really want. Your edge rushers to always to be a threat, and he's not.
Yeah. I'm seeing Evan Neal, at least on this depth chart, is not even the backup tackle, the 3rd string tackle. So
yeah, which
he must really be doing bad.
Oof. He's terrible. Yeah. You figure for a guy, he could have been like, the year he came out, he could have been a top, taken even higher. He was like the guy coming out of Alabama. And for it's another thing. For all the success that they had at Alabama, there's a lot of those linemen that come out of there that are like, when they get down, the only one that is really good, now is like Dickerson with the Eagles. He came out, Alabama guy. But a lot of those guys are like, they come out their whole world, and then when they get to the NFL, they're kind of like, And Evan Neal is definitely that guy.
I think it's because, like, or at least the way it used to be, Alabama, like every player on Alabama is like, like highly recruited. You're basically on a team of all-stars. Then you get to the NFL and you're just on, people that are just as good and stuff. And then, when you're on a team of really good players, it doesn't necessarily mean you could be really good. It's just all those good players help you. But when you don't have that situation, then you have to just rely on yourself, and maybe they're actually not that good. So I mean, it seems to happen a lot with Alabama players.
Yeah, like him. He went to IMG. That big old giant program they got down in Florida. The high school. He went to IMG, top program in the country. Goes to Alabama, and you figure the scouts would have seen, picked up that he couldn't, block edge rushers, as big as he is, because they had Will Anderson was there, and they had Dallas Turner, two, top 10 edge rushers, and you would see this stuff, every day in practice, when the coach, when the scouts go to practice to see this stuff. So why didn't they pick up the fact that this guy is too slow to play right tackle in the NFL? That's scout. That goes back to scouting.
Yep. Yeah. And when you miss on your first round draft pick, it just hurts. And when you miss on your first round draft pick as a quarterback, Danny Dimes, then that really sets you back. Ooh, I got to twist the knife.
Oh man, that hurt, man. My chest hurts right now. I'm thinking about fall out the chair right now. That would hurt, man.
Hey, the Steelers are in the same boat. We don't even have, we're just waiting for Aaron Rodgers he's on the beach right now. We're just waiting for him to decide whether he wants to play or not, or what's going on. So
he's on a beach or another darkness retreat.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, he's sitting in a tunnel somewhere, cave or wherever.
The ayahuasca hasn't given him the clarity that he's looking for just yet.
Either you want to play or you don't. It's easy.
I mean, I think it's because he wants to go to the Vikings, but they've told him to kick rocks.
That's the thing. I mean, and if I was him, I would want to go to the Vikings too. I'd rather throw to Jefferson and have that and have that really good coach and a really good team. Yeah, if he was smart, he would do that. But yeah, he might end up with the Steelers, or just that's that. Now the rumor is he just might decide to retire. If he was smart, he would, because if he decides to sign with the Steelers now, he would have to go through OTAs and training camp and stuff like that. He could just hang out on the beach and then wait for some quarterback to get hurt, and then just show up and say, "Hey, I'm here now," and he doesn't have to do all that work. So that's, if he was smart, that's what he would do. If he really doesn't care and just wants to play football and stuff. But
yeah, but who knows with him? How much is he actually going to do during OTA? He ain't going to do it. Yeah, he got there, throw the ball, throw it around a little bit. No.
That's the thing. That's the question.
Not
is he going to go to OTAs?
I don't even mean if he doesn't sign. Like, even if he signs with someone, like I remember like Favre at the end of his career, I'm pretty sure wasn't going to the mini camps or whatever.
Right.
Some guys just don't go.
And last year with the Jets, he didn't go. He decided to go on a vacation in Egypt or something like that. But I mean, you got to figure, he's coming to a new team. He's going to bring his system, whatever it is, and the team has to learn learn to play with him. So it's either OTAs or training camp or whatever. But we got to know what he was doing if he shows up.
I don't know. Either you want to play, or you don't want to play. That's the bottom line. It's his choice. He's 41 years old. He's earned that right, to make that decision. But to hold, organizations kind of hostage, because he won't make a decision, and the draft is 3 weeks away, and I'm sure, Pittsburgh probably, I'm sure they've done their work as far as looking at the quarterbacks that are going to be available. But, now they're going to have to put extra work into it because they're waiting for him.
Well, it'll change everything, because if he decides he doesn't want to play, then they have to get a quarterback probably in the first round, probably that Jackson Dart or something like that. And that, that throws off their whole thing, because they have other needs, but they have to reach for a quarterback, and it's a mess. I think it's just
what number was Pickett when they drafted him?
He was 20th, I believe.
And this year, what are in the 20s again?
They're drafting 21 this year, so basically the same thing. So we might have Kenny Pickett 2.0. Yay!
At least he's not the hometown kid, so there's less pressure.
Right.
Not that would matter. I mean, if it worked out, it would have been great. If not,
oh my goodness! When he got drafted, it was like such a celebration here. It's like, oh, one of our own. I mean, I know he's from Jersey, but he spent 5 years in University of Pittsburgh.
All he had to do was go from one side of the building to the other. Yeah.
That's right.
From the pit side and just go around the other side.
That's right. Yeah, he had a long way to go, but and it just didn't work out. So, and it's just there's a reason in a league starved for quarterbacks. There's a reason they're talking about Jackson Dart being either a late first round or early second rounder. He's not. He has to have flaws, because otherwise he'd be going like top 5 in the draft, like Cam Ward and Sanders.
Like, it'd be like one of those situations where it's like, all right, the Giants, if they wanted a QB, could have gotten Jackson Dart, or I don't even know who's like 4th or 5th on that list.
Jalen Milroe
this year.
Yeah, Milroe's another one that could go second round, third round, something like that.
Tyler, the quarterback is like 25 years old, the one from Louisville. Tyler
Slough or something like that. Yeah,
he's like 25, be 26 when the season starts. Where's he been?
He's already old.
I mean, I think I was talking about that. I think in the group chat the other day, that just like, we're at the tail end of, essentially, I'm going to call them the COVID babies. We're essentially like, I think Cam Rising's in his 9th year at Utah or in college football, but like we're another year or two away, and we're going to see a couple of these guys in their mid-20s who are just grad students. But it's like, hey, beats the real world, I guess.
They kept getting extensions because of COVID, and
their red what else they already get anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the one kid was the one in Miami. I think that kid in Miami was like 8 or 9 years. It was something
Yeah,
crazy with
he
him.
finally is done. Cam McCormick, I think. I actually, weirdly enough, think I just saw that.
What, he's like 30?
He's like
He gotta be
28.
close to 30.
He got to be working on his doctorate.
He should be a bit. Hopefully, he did graduate. I hope he did.
That
Game Day did a great piece on him at Coral Gables, like retirement home. Like it was a nice touch to kind of acknowledging. Yeah, I bet this is my 8th year of college, and
that Slough or whatever it is. I mean, he was basically the same age as Trevor Lawrence, and Trevor Lawrence has been a quarterback in the NFL for like 5 or 6 years.
I completely forgot about that one.
Oh, good grief!
Crazy. The Giants re-sign linebacker Deontay Johnson. Looks like he's just just a backup, right?
Yeah, backup to the backup.
Backup to the backup, yeah, because it's Mike and McFadden and then Chris Ford and then Johnson. So he just a depth piece.
Just another depth piece, special team guy. We did resign Slayton.
Yes, he Giants country, let's ride. He tweeted out the other day.
He's like a glutton for punishment, man. Darius Slayton, man. I'd have been like, you know what, man, I done had enough, man. I'm gonna go someplace where I can win or whatever. But he's a good guy. He was reliable, but just the fact he just gets, for some reason, he just gets treated bad with the Giants. To me, it just he gets 700 yards, usually 50 catches, he drops some and whatever. But he's been reliable. But it's just that he just doesn't get any respect.
Maybe he thinks no respect, I tell you. Maybe he thinks, well, Malik Neighbors is the number 1 guy. He could just be the number 2 guy. Malik Neighbors is going to get all the attention, all the double teams and stuff. So maybe he could get his numbers, but it's all about the quarterback. And the one thing about Russell Wilson that he specializes in is the deep ball. He throws a really nice deep ball. So if Neighbors and Slayton like to go deep, he could get it to them. That's for sure.
Well, first he got to worry about somebody blocking for him, so he can throw the ball that deep.
I was just going to say that. It's like, well, if he could get the ball out when he's running for his life, he could get the deep ball out, then he'll be okay.
Yeah, hopefully Andrew Thomas comes back. He was hurt. The other guys that they signed, the other pieces, they've signed a ton of offensive linemen, during free agency. So, hopefully they can piecemeal a line together. They can make it, fit past the 4th game without all of them falling apart. And it should be interesting.
That's the thing. I mean, that's the key to any football team is the line, the offensive line and defensive line. If you got it, you're good. If you don't, you're in trouble. And it's not like the Giants haven't been trying. Andrew Thomas was a 1st-round draft pick in 2020. Evan Neal, a 1st-round draft pick in 2022. John Michael Schmitz, he was a 2nd-round pick a couple years ago. They've tried. It just hasn't worked.
Which then, as Byron would say, goes back to scouting.
Yeah, and for some reason,
and coaching.
How is it that you can suck that bad at scouting offensive linemen the last 10 years? 10. It's at least 10 years. But then you go down the turnpike, and it was at Southland U, the offensive line coach for the Eagles. This guy's like the guru of all gurus, and he turned Becton with the Jets into a guy that just got paid with the Chargers, and it seems like Mulata, left tackle that never played football in his life. The guy's one of the highest paid left tackles, working with this offensive line coach. So why is it that we can't get somebody to come in and fix the train wreck that we have?
Yeah. Well, it goes back to why did they not fire the coach and the GM? Because basically they're lame ducks. They basically, let's say they do stink next year or this year and stuff. They're gonna get fired. Well, you knew they're gonna get fired. You should have got rid of them already. Because now, what are they going to do? Like all the decisions they're going to make are might be bad and might affect you for the next few years. Like I feel
like they were just a victim of their own success in the first year. Like I'm not saying like they should have tanked, but like the fact that like Schoen and Dable come in and immediately this team that hadn't been to the playoffs in 6-7 years, whatever they did worked, so they didn't need to change anything. Versus, all right, your first year, you show some improvement, you do great drafting signing, and then you make the playoffs. It's like, no, they got too good too fast.
Right. It was a mirage, and the other thing is, Mara is so sick and tired of having a coach for a year or two and then getting rid of them. It's like, okay, I'm going to stick with these guys. Like, okay, but you're sticking with the wrong guys. So it just, oh well. Good news is you'll have a really good draft pick next year.
Probably.
Yeah, they'll screw that up too.
Well, yeah, they're gonna like win like 2 or 3 games down the stretch, and they'll be picking like 8th.
Yeah, like they usually do. We'll put Tommy DeVito out there. Like, Tommy Cutlass. He'll win 2-3 games, and next 10th pick.
Sign Drew Lock just for the heck of it. Why not? He'll get you a game.
It's the most annoying thing. It has to be the most annoying thing for a fan base when your team stinks and you say, okay, fine. Yeah, we stink, but we'll get a good draft pick next year. And then all of a sudden your team wins some meaningless games and you don't even get that good draft pick. You get like, now you're drafting number 10 or something like that. It's like this disaster.
You figure
the worst of all worlds.
The crazy thing about this whole thing, the Giants and the Pittsburgh have history together. So do you think maybe that the Giants would follow what the Pittsburgh Steelers do to get things right and not have 900 coaches, over the last 5 years? The Pittsburgh's had 3 for the last 50 years or whatever it is. The Giants have had, I can't even tell you how many they've had, over the last, 50 years.
I think we've had 3 in the last 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Right.
And it doesn't make any sense that Pittsburgh and Giants are they're like family. They really are. Family.
They're literally family. Yeah.
Yeah.
My question is, the Giants saw that the Steelers just had Russell Wilson. Why didn't they talk to each other and say, "Hey, what's going on with this guy? Why do you not want him? What's so bad about him? Why did you say, well, it failed over there, but don't worry, he'll work with us. Yay!" I don't know. That was weird.
Maybe you figure if they'd had this discussion around Thanksgiving, when the Maras and Roonies get together, sit around the big table, and, they could talk about it, together, just over some food or some drinks or whatever. But they ain't gonna do like that.
Pass the mashed potatoes. What do you think of Russell Wilson? Are you gonna keep him or not?
That's
stuff
the
like
perfect conversation. There you go.
Yeah. The 49ers might trade Brandon Ayuk. This is the same thing that happened last year. Brandon Ayuk had his contract was up and he was rumored to go to the Steelers, and that kind of really messed up the Steelers because they ended up not having another good wide receiver, and it kind of ruined their season. So now we have again that I guess he might be traded. It seems like those 49ers wide receivers, they're really, they're a certain way that they're really, what's the word I'm looking for? Really rough, really rugged, that they're, they help with the run support and they help blocking and stuff, which is cool. But then that does not lend to a long career, because usually wide receivers are out, they try to avoid all physical contact. And Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel, they look like they were really physical, but that does not lend to, when they get older, they kind of reach their expiration a little bit sooner, it seems like.
Didn't he get paid with them? He signed a big contract when
yeah, he got a big contract.
So
4 years, 120.
So what team wants to take on a big old giant contract like that?
Right.
And the other
Yeah, I
thing
don't
with San Francisco,
understand.
like, why does it appear that they're like picking the team apart, like slowly? They Debo and not him. They got Kittle. You still got um,
You have the corpse of
Purdy's got
McCaffrey still there, I think.
you got Purdy is looking to get paid. So
That's why. Purdy's making like not even $1 million now, and he's going to go from 1 million to 60 million a year. Well, that money got to come from somewhere. So where's that money coming from? Getting rid of Debo, getting rid of Ayuk.
Contract is it's not bad for 2 years. It's after 27 when it skyrockets as a cap hit. So the next year and a half, it's like 10 million and then 16. Okay. It's not terrible, but in 3 years, it's going to be an albatross of a contract.
But how much of that is guaranteed? So really, it's one of those, you sign a 4-year deal, but it's really a 3-year deal because there's no way they're actually going to pay that 4th year. And it's not guaranteed.
I gotta say this one for Victor. Now Purdy will be able to afford to live in San Francisco because he'll be making $60 million a year, not $1 million a year trying to get an apartment or whatever he's got in San Francisco.
I'm not even sure 60 million will be enough in San Francisco. I don't know what he's been doing. I don't know what he's been doing this past few years because it's for San Fran is very expensive.
He's like DeVito, lives with his parents.
That's right. I just want to see that they should just have a reality show of Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, and DeVito, and just inside the locker room or inside that quarterback room. I can see
quarterbacks right on Netflix. There you go.
They have a quarterback show. Yeah, that should be the show right there. Yeah.
Just don't have Joe Schoen saying anything. Just have it be those three.
You know what happened?
Schoen will have his head in his hands.
You know what happened the last time the Giants went on, Hard Knocks? Exactly. I'm pretty sure they ain't doing that again. Nah.
Well, wasn't that the whole rumor of why UNC is rumored to be doing Hard Knocks because of the fact that no NFL team wants to do it anymore because of Schoen's viral embarrassment?
Exactly. Can you blame them? I mean, that was, it was fascinating to look inside a team's off season, but it made the Giants look so bad. Not only did they make one of the biggest blunders in giving up Saquon Barkley, but it was televised. It was a show about it. We saw exactly what happened. It could not have looked worse for the Giants. No team wants any part of that.
So wait a minute. So they're going to do Hard Knocks at University of North Carolina with Bill Belichick?
Supposedly that was the rumor. I don't know if it's in stone.
Even Belichick said no.
Oh, I was going to say, man, because I can see him with them kids. Ooh, man, that'd be brutal with him.
I mean, if you look at it from the other perspective, as a recruiting marketing arm, it could be a good thing. I mean, I know they got that Jordan money, but otherwise, why not?
I just can't see Belichick doing something like that just because he seems very secretive, not the kind of person that wants to show everything he's doing. Unless basically the whole show would be just him making out with his 24-year-old girlfriend or something.
Or him doing a walk of shame from Nantucket, some random from some Ring camera.
Yes.
I know what you mean in the sense that in terms of his game plan and his football mind, he very much likes to keep it very controlled and whatnot and not show anything.
And he's extreme. I mean, it would be fascinating to see because he's extremely old school. And how does that relate to 19, 20-year-old kids? That's going to be interesting. It doesn't. You're right. Especially 19, 20-year-old kids that are making millions of dollars in college. You think they're going to listen to some old dude? Nah. The NFL to penalize nose wipe celebration. I don't even know what this is.
That's what's his name? The CD Lamb. His celebration. He does with the thing after he scores a touchdown, a big play or whatever. And supposedly, I'm not sure. supposedly that it's a gang kind of thing.
Okay.
Oh, I would have assumed something more of the recreational kind, but
no, it's something to do with the it's something that the Bloods do.
Okay. Okay. This is
all right. That's fair enough. I got no argument on that.
I saw one of the basketball games after some dude made a big basket. His teammate was on the sideline going, I was like, oh my goodness, guns! Oh my goodness, finger guns! What are we gonna do? The NFL would arrest that person.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna throw this out here. It's a lot of like NFL players, that have grown up, in those kind of areas, that a gang affiliation or whatever, and sometimes when those kids get to the top, of their profession, that's a way that they're still trying to show people that I made it. Look at me, that they're still kind of with it, and I don't, it's not a good thing. But it is what it is. Sometimes that's just where they grew up, and that's just trying to show some kind of respect, to the area, that they grew up in. But all this, this, and there's no place for that.
Listen, if some player did that, okay, I don't want to know. I don't know, anything about gang affiliations. But if some player went like this, it's not going to lead me to, go into a supermarket and start shooting people. Like this is not going to cause violence, people. I'm sorry. Like, the NFL just goes a little too far with this kind of stuff.
Well, I mean, because that would force people to address a different issue that we're not going to talk about on this show.
Right.
Like that would force people to look elsewhere than blaming what they saw on TV, even if it was incredibly innocent, going like this.
Yeah, but you'll see, the stuff that the NFL guys doing. I see it, coaching, the tackle football and the flag football, where these little kids, are doing, mimicking these guys. Right. I see it all the time. Where they sit there and score, they do the gritty and all this kind of stuff, and give them deuces, Tyreek Hill, and they're going to copy this stuff on TV. You really don't want them to sit there and do this, because you're going to be in the wrong neighborhood one time. You're going to do this, and it's going to be a problem.
Yeah,
it really is.
Yeah, I mean that's true. It is very impressionable on the kids. They want to be like that, like the athletes they see on TV. So I could see that. The Stephon Diggs signed with the Patriots.
That came out kind of out of nowhere, because that was, I think, within 15 to 20 minutes of the Russell Wilson contract. All of a sudden, this story just dropped.
Right, it kind of snuck in there. I personally, I think Diggs is kind of over the hill. I think he's past his prime. I don't think that's really going to help the Patriots much, but okay. I mean, they need somebody.
Drake needs someone to throw to, and in the long run, it's not a terrible contract for the Patriots. It's 1 year. It's it's 3 years, 69, but only 26 is guaranteed. So it's not awful in the long run. It works or it doesn't, and they can cut bait after basically a year.
And I think that speaks to how this is not a good draft for wide receivers. It's just not a strong draft. It's a strong draft for a defensive line, running back, and I forget what else. But quarterback, wide receiver, it's weak. So that's why I think we're seeing some of these, some of the moves. Why the Giants went with Russell Wilson, and why
because there's that receiver out of Arizona that I think. And I think it had to do with the way the Giants have kind of showed their hand that they're not taking Shedeur Sanders.
Right.
That, they're probably getting Travis Hunter. So the Patriots are like, all right, let's lock in a wide receiver. Is it the one we want? Probably not, but he'll do for a year.
McMillan, I think could go. McMillan, I could see going top 5, top 10, something like that. So we'll see. The NFL Competition Committee is expected to move the kickoff touchbacks to the 35 so that there will be more returns. Okay.
Because that worked so well last year.
Right. I thought the kickoffs were really dumb last year. I hate that new rule that everybody has to stay still. It looks really, really dumb. It doesn't look like football. And
I didn't hate it. It just was the fact that the kickers didn't care. They were just whatever. We're still going to kick it as a touchback. They were not incentivized to try to kick it short.
Yeah. And they're probably going to do the same thing now. Like I don't care where we kick it.
Might as well just kick it out of bounds. Get another 5 yards and not like wreck your leg trying to kick a ball like 60, 70 yards down the field.
Because a bunch of them get hurt just doing that. Just hamstring, calf injury. That happens too.
Right. Cam Ward showcased his skills on Miami's Pro Day. I think this is what led to the Giants getting Russell Wilson, because if there was any doubt, like let's say Cam Ward looked bad or something like that, then the Titans might consider going with someone else, but now that's like, okay, Cam Ward looks okay. He looks like the real deal. He's going to the Titans at number 1. And we know Sanders is probably going to the Browns at number 2. So that leaves the Giants out of the quarterback thing. Although I personally think Shedeur Sanders is going to be a bust. I just think there's some major red flags there. And then the whole dealing with his dad, I want no part of that, man. He just seems like he's going to get involved, and I want nothing to do with that.
Yeah. I agree.
The only thing I see with him is that he's not fleet of foot like his dad. He's not running a 4.2, 40. And he just, when he was in Colorado, I don't know. It looked like he just couldn't get out of harm's way fast enough sometimes. It just looked like that to me. So
speaking of a bad O-line.
You're right.
Yeah,
right.
They did have a bad O-line too. Yeah, it was pretty bad.
It just seemed like his game does not translate well to the NFL. And if you want to be drafted high, you better at least be able to run a little bit. Cam Ward can do it all. But one thing I did hear that let's say Cam Ward would have come out last year. If Cam Ward came out last year, he would have been like the 5th or 6th best quarterback in that draft. So this is just a weak draft. This is just a weak draft for quarterbacks. Weak year.
Yep. Not a good year.
Not a good year. How's our brackets doing? Did we all fill out March Madness brackets?
Overall doing okay. I lost my runner-up in St. John's in one bracket, but I think my quote-unquote official bracket, I think I still have my Final Four intact.
Oh, you have multiple brackets. That's smart.
Oh, yeah. I'm a 2-bracket guy. That's how I've been. That's how I always go. Yeah, the one that has Duke winning, that one's not going to do well because I think St. John's is the runner-up in that one. But otherwise, I still have Auburn. I still have Auburn winning it all in the other bracket.
I lost one of my Final Four teams, Iowa State. But I think, who is it? The other number 3. I had 2 ones. I have Duke, Houston. Who's that other 3 seed? Maybe Texas Tech or something like that.
Oh yeah, Tech's playing. God, who are they? I think they're playing later tonight. Actually,
okay.
Arkansas. They're playing Calipari tonight.
But it just seems like it's Duke's to lose. Duke seems really strong. The only question is if what's his name plays, if he's not hurt. Byron, did you fill out a bracket?
Flag, yeah.
I don't have a clue on who's playing. Because these kids leave so fast that you don't get back in the day, my age, these guys stayed 2-3 years and you got to know watch them. But now it's like, all right, well, I'm going 1 year and I'm out. Like Cooper, the kid from Duke, Cooper Flag. I know, like I heard about him. You got Wagner, because you have Wagner, in Arkansas, with his dad, played Jersey, and then his dad, his dad, and then his uncle all playing in Camden over here, in Jersey, and I followed him. But besides all these other kids, not even close.
It's a messed up system. It's all college sports are all messed up right now. But first they make them stay in school for a year, which is ridiculous. So at the most they're in year. What are we doing?
You're not even going to class. You're just sort of you're just sort of there for 6 months and then you're off training for the draft.
But did you see now that I think this is the 3rd year of the transfer portal or whatever. 700 players are on the transfer portal. So basically, every single player is just having this big. We're all free agents after 1 year, and we're just going to jump from school to school. Like, what are we doing?
There was a graphic out for the Sweet 16 that showed like what the starting school was for like the starting five of each team, and it was like Michigan State had 4 of their own, Duke had 4 of their own, but then everyone else, it was just like this smorgasbord of college athletes who started somewhere that was not where they're currently playing, or maybe one at most. It's crazy.
It's crazy. It's just really, there are just no rules. It's just absolutely ridiculous.
I think we're a couple years away from some form of reform. Like, it's got to happen at some point, right?
It has to. It's absolutely ridiculous. If I'm one of these people that are donating NIL money to someone, and just to know I would say, listen, I'll give you the money. I'll give you $1 million, but you got to stick around for 2 years or something like that. Like, why can't you put that in a contract? I don't understand how this is just a year-to-year thing. It's absolutely ridiculous.
It's just the whole.
Well, some of them might be kind of like, you hear like, oh, this guy signed for $9 million, but it's not like it's all like being paid out in the moment. It might be like distributed over time. But yeah, no, it's
and sometimes,
and we're also on the verge of, depending on the state you're in or whatnot, college athletes getting officially paid. Like there was a story in the paper, South Carolina, about the women's team and how they're getting some sort of a stipend like next year, I think.
Oh, and the young lady from USC, the one that got hurt, let's throw her out. Juju Watkins, hurt her knee, last game. So, best wishes. She comes back.
Yeah, that stinks. Another thing it's doing is, there used to be upsets in March Madness in the tournament. Now, forget about it. The only thing that happens with these little schools is if they do well, congratulations, you just lost your good players.
Yep.
They're just moving up.
They lost their coach and God knows how many players, and the student manager as well. Like, they're all gone. They're going to NC State.
Student manager.
Yeah, Amir Khan, Aura, he was viral.
Oh, what, the kid with the boombox?
Yeah, Aura.
He's leaving. Oh,
yeah, he's going with coach to NC State.
My
wow,
goodness.
Must be nice.
Okay, but this is all happening in the middle of your playoffs, in the middle of your tournament to determine a champion, and we're talking about this coach is leaving. All these players are leaving, or something like that. Like, where are we going with this? What, or are we going to get to the point where Duke is playing Arizona, and they say, hey, that Arizona point guard looks really good. Let's just pay him to jump out to our side right now in the second half or something like that. And now he's playing for Duke. I mean, at what point? Because it seems like there's just no rules.
No.
I think football's a little better in terms of the competitive balance. It's not for just the transfer portal, but the gap between the Bamas of the world and everyone else has dramatically closed. But basketball, it's probably just gotten a lot worse. If anything, that's where now your brackets are going to be like, don't go for all the upsets. There's not as many of them as there used to be. Not that that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Oh, the portal opened the other day. I didn't know that.
And another thing is, we've already seen some of the smaller schools just quit. It's like, you know what? Forget this. We'll go down to a lower division or something like that. We can't compete. And there's no way. There's no way a smaller school can throw around the money that these bigger schools can. It's just
you're just a feeder. I mean, I've been speaking to my alumni, the University of Maine, who had one of their best seasons and that they were runners up in their conference tournament. Any player worth anything, they're gone.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, well, our team will be good in another 10, 15 years. Who knows? Like, yeah, like anyone who's worth anything at the small time schools, it's like, yeah, they're gone. I don't know who's went from the portal, but I imagine there's a couple.
Yeah, it's sad, and we'll see how it goes. And it's as time goes on, well, there's going to be more changes, and I think you're right. I think there is going to be reform. I think there has to be some kind of laws, rules, regulations, something, because right now there's just no rules at all. It's crazy.
Honestly, one of the only ones I think they really need to do is pretty much forcing guys who commit to at least stick around for a second year. Because it seems like in some cases, freshmen who don't get what they want will immediately hop into the portal. Like, give them a second year before they're just like, all right, I'm out.
I mean, I think athletes should be paid, but I think there should be some kind of regulations because it was crazy when they were making nothing in these schools and the stuff were making millions, billions of dollars off of them, and they're making nothing. It's like, well, you got a scholarship. It's like, no, well, I mean, it was ridiculous, but now it's kind of ridiculous in the other way. So we'll see.
I want my money. I ain't get paid. I want my money now. I don't care if it's 40 years later. Give it to me anyway.
What, you didn't get a check from the Ed O'Bannon lawsuit or whatever?
I didn't get a penny. I had nothing. Nothing.
Do you have any more college eligibility, Byron?
No, I don't have.
Okay. I was saying
5 years. You got 5 years to do 4. That was the rule then. 5 years, do 4.
Not 9, not 8.
Nope. 5, 4. That's it.
Oh my. All right. Well, I think that brings things to an end. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Byron. We are Jersey Boys is on when, Byron? Every Thursday at 8.
8 o'clock.
8. What? Okay.
There you go.
Yeah. Thanks again, Alex. Thanks again, Byron. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you.